Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm going to just get this set up real quick. I'm only going to be live for maybe 20 minutes or something like that. Got to fix this, hit go live, turn that off. Okay, great. All right, I think we are live everywhere. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a topic today, which I think is really, really important. And that is good faith versus bad faith arguments. So this would come up if you've ever had a conversation with somebody where you felt like they were just trying everything that they possibly could to be right, and they didn't care about listening to you or the actual facts or the arguments. Maybe they would just like attack you instead of your position. Generally, that's considered bad faith. But I'm going to go through what that is. And the difference between how to show up in good faith versus bad faith. Because if you have seen my Facebook, if you're watching this on Facebook, you've probably seen a lot of bad faith arguments. Generally, I do my best. Sometimes I may show up in bad faith, but generally, I do my best to show up honestly, really try to understand the other person's position, get it really clear, and then play with the scaffolding. I just see if it can stand up against facts. Sometimes people get really mad. A lot of the time, they get really mad and they will attack me rather than the argument I provided or rather than providing a source that I asked for. I guess my point to start this off with is that argumentation is not inherently bad. Okay, it's not bad to argue. It's actually, in my opinion, it's a really good thing because it starts conversations about meaningful topics. A lot of the times, people will not have conversations about meaningful topics unless they are an argument. So, if that's just the way it is, that's the way it is, right? It's probably not good to avoid topics just because it's going to be an argument. And if something is an argument, that doesn't mean that it has to be nasty. That doesn't mean that it has to be a fight, right? An argument, by definition, is just presenting a claim. If I make a claim like immigrants are good for America, right? That's an argument. I'm presenting an argument. I'm not fighting anybody. I'm not being violent. I'm not being nasty or anything like that. I'm just providing an argument. And so you can come back at that with a counter argument or a counterfact or something that presents some kind of contesting to the argument that is being provided. And that's how you can proceed in good faith. You just need to make sure that you understand the position that you're arguing against. So the problem is not disagreement itself, it's how people are disagreeing. And we obviously see this a lot around politics because people get really attached for some reason to people. I'm not sure why people feel the need to defend like criminals and rapists and things like that so much. Like, I don't really get it. But that's where a lot of the emotion comes up, is in political debate. So, a good faith argument is when someone is honestly trying to understand the issue, like they're honestly trying to understand the other person's claim, represent it accurately, and then argue against it in a way that they are being honest and truthful. Right. Good faith debate is two people trying to find the answer together, trying to find the truth together, not two people attacking each other trying to win. That's not a debate. That's, I'm not sure what that is. Is that a fight? Yeah, but that's not really a debate. Good faith people can still be wrong, get emotional, passionate, but their goal isn't to manipulate, it's to engage honestly and find the truth together. So, examples are like, instead of just saying you're wrong, you might say like, can you explain what you mean by that? Or you can say things like, I disagree, but I think I understand your point. Can you clarify X? Just things like that. And you'll also see good faith argumenters saying things like, that's a good point. Or I can see it from that perspective, but here's the perspective that I'm coming at it from. And then that's not to like say that you're wrong about something that you presented. It's just to introduce another perspective. Arguments aren't really good if they only operate on one perspective and only one angle. So bad faith argument, since we went over good faith, bad faith argument is when someone is not really trying to understand or find the truth. They're trying to win or embarrass the other person or make them feel bad. Oftentimes, like derailing the conversation. Usually, bad faith happens when the person knows they're wrong and they're trying to just distract from the main point so that they can feel like they won without actually addressing the point. Generally, like if they're deflecting away from the point, it's because they know that they don't have an argument. Bad faith people will like pretend to be reasonable, but their behavior will often be like emotional, or they'll just attack you directly. So one of the things that I see a lot, especially on my page, is misrepresentation. Is like here's a really good example. I will say something like I'll call out how Donald Trump campaigned, which is he campaigned specifically on rounding up the violent criminals that were in our country, right? The violent criminal immigrants, specifically, not all immigrants, just the violent criminals. And when I have arguments about this with people on my page, I will say, like, I think we should do that. I think we should deport just the violent criminals. I'm not sure why we are targeting people who happen to cross a state line or a country line. And maybe they didn't even know the law. They might not even know they're breaking the law. I've even heard of immigrants coming in from bad lawyer advice. Like the lawyer tells them, "Hey, do this," and then they get in trouble for it. So it's not like every single immigrant in here is like an intentional criminal. That's crazy. So when I say things like, I think we should only deport the violent criminals, and we should give all the other ones, like an easier pathway to citizenship, especially if they pay taxes, right? So that's a very clearly defined position where I want the innocent people who are contributing to the country to have the option to stay here and be able to be vetted and earn their place in the country rather than just being kicked out aside of due process, which, by the way, is they are protected under the Constitution for that. And so I will make that argument, right? And then someone will come up on my page and they'll say, "Oh, so you want all the criminals in here?" Like, nobody said that. And so, like, very regularly, I'll have my arguments just completely misrepresented. Like, they'll just tell me that I'm taking a position that I'm clearly not taking. So that's an example of bad faith argument. And then people will tell me that I'm arguing in bad faith or I'm lying when I say Donald Trump is I keep forgetting that word, an adjudicated rapist, right? Which is actually a fact. He is an adjudicated rapist. He is a convicted criminal. I'll say these things and they'll be like, "You're lying. You're misrepresenting my position." No, that's a fact. You can go look up the case, bro. And so, like, I will work hard to make sure I understand people before I knock down their argument. But essentially, good faith is about holding accountability to the truth and finding that, attacking bad arguments, and bad faith is about winning. So if we can't tell the difference, essentially why it's important, we're going to waste energy on conversations that were never really conversations. Because if somebody's goal is just to attack you and just to make you look bad, what's even the point of continuing the conversation? It's not going to be productive and it's not going to change their mind because they have a completely different goal than you do. But when we learn to recognize good faith and bad faith, and we can call it out, and we can have better conversations, because if you call someone out for a bad faith argument, oftentimes, not all the time, they will correct it and they will say, "You know what, my bad. You know what, I haven't experienced that a ton, but maybe there's like 20 to 50% of people, I hope, that would actually recognize it and try to change themselves, but maybe not." Anyway, that's what you want to do. You want to just call it out, and if anything, make them recognize that it was a bad faith argument, even if they don't want to admit it out loud. The awkwardness will be worth it, right? So you call it out, and then maybe just leave that conversation. Just go have a conversation with somebody who's willing to engage honestly. So what I would recommend is next time you're in a disagreement, just ask yourself if this person really is trying to understand you or if they're just trying to get a W. Because if the answer is that they're trying to get a W, then there's really not much point. So oftentimes I see this online. I was going to see if I could try to find a post here real quick. Give me a second. We're going to be doing some lives coming up where I talk about how to do proper research, and I might actually share my screen. Let me know if this would be interesting to you. Where I'll go through claims that people make on my page, and then I'll go try to research them and see if they are a fact or if they are a trust me bro, which could be kind of fun. So let me know if that would be interesting to you. Let me just see here. Do we have any examples? I'm not. Oh, this has a lot of. This has a lot of comments. That would take a while to look through. Okay. Yeah, we'll skip that for today. I'll get some queued up maybe for next time. But what I'm thinking is that would be kind of fun to find particular comments that have been left on my posts and see if they stand up to actual research. And then we can log them. We can we can have a little bit of fun and log them as facts or trust me bros. Maybe I can keep track of 2 columns and we can see how MAGA does. I think that would be kind of fun. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you did stay this long, if you ever want to have a conversation about any of this stuff with me on a live, I would be happy to do that. There is a link in the description wherever you're watching this, Facebook, YouTube, or even in my community. There's a link in the description to sign up for a debate. And if you sign up, I will reach out to you. I'll just make sure that you're an adult and you're looking for a conversation. And then my plan is every Friday, we're going to have debates inside the community. I might also stream them to Facebook and YouTube just like this. But I want to do that every Friday where it's I have a few people who have submitted and scheduled. And then we just have a good conversation, have a few good conversations every week. So let me know if you want to do that. Just hit the link in the description and go sign up for that. And I would love to have a chat with you. So thanks for watching. I will see you later.